Now, you should have seen my email after I raised the question of how is the Cuban Missile Crisis taught in the public school system today? Well, I got email after email. Come on, Rush, don't be silly. JFK's the biggest hero. He's still a god. The Cuban Missile Crisis, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's JFK, he's brilliant, he's the best, he's great, it's Camelot. Not true anymore, folks. This is my point. I had right here the details in my formerly nicotine-stained fingers. And it's a story from the New York Times from November 11th last year, 2013. Textbooks reassess Kennedy putting Camelot under siege. A 1975 Haskell text by Clarence Versteeg and Richard Hofstadter said that in his handling of the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, quote, Kennedy's true nature as a statesman became fully apparent in A People and a Nation, their book. They said his 1963 limited nuclear test ban treaty was the greatest single step toward peace since the beginning of the Cold War. Okay, that was, for all intents and purposes, the way Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis were portrayed as recently as 1975. But using the same title in 1982, Mary Beth Norton and several other textbook writers took a very different approach in a college textbook widely used today, still to this day, in advanced placement courses. They said, Mary Beth Norton and several others, they said that Kennedy pursued civil rights with a notable lack of vigor. They blamed Kennedy for the missile crisis, saying that Cuban Soviet fears of invasion were stoked by Kennedy's Bay of Pigs landing in 1961 and other U.S. moves against Cuba sponsored by Kennedy. And they said that Kennedy's real legacy was a, quote, huge military expansion that helped goad the Russians into an accelerated arms race. So in advanced placement courses in American universities, from 1985 on, Kennedy is blamed for the missile crisis. Kennedy is blamed for the Soviet arms buildup because of his numerous efforts, starting with the Bay of Pigs, to invade Cuba. So this is what my instincts, I never doubt my instincts. And so this is, I don't know, I'm going to take the time to defend Kennedy, but my point is that it's changed. That everywhere, it's America's fault, even to the point of having to blame JFK. If the textbook writers, if the educators, the curriculum determiners are so hell-bent on blaming America, they will even lump JFK in. Now, that's how pervasive the Blame America crowd is. That's how deep their tentacles spread throughout education now. And you can't believe it. You sitting there, I can say, you can't believe it anywhere in America JFK would be blamed for anything, much less the Cuban Missile Crisis. And since 1985 in college advanced placement textbooks, according to a New York Times story last November, right here, that's the truth. In 1985, folks, we're talking 30 years ago. That's a generation of people coming out of college who believe that. So I'm telling you, the notion that America is the problem in the world is widespread among educated elites. Educated elites end up where? They end up in government bureaucracies. They run for office. They end up on Wall Street. They end up CEOs. They end up in a number of influential places.